در جریان برگزاری گردهمایی‌های 5 روزه کهکشان در اشرف 3، کنفرانس بین المللی سیاست در قبال ایران و یک آلترناتیو معتبر با شرکت شهردار رودی جولیانی و شماری از شخصیت‌های برجسته سیاسی و بین المللی و پارلمانترها و کارشناسان از کشورهای مختلف روز 11 ژوئیه 2019 ۲۰تیر ۹۸ برگزار شد. شخصیت‌های شرکت کننده در این کنفرانس سیاست درست در قبال دیکتاتوری آخوندی و مهمترین مسائل سیاسی و استراتژیکی مربوط به ایران را مورد بحث و بررسی قرار دادند و به بررسی جایگاه و ویژگی‌های یک آلترناتیو دموکراتیک برای رژیم آخوندی پرداختند. سفیر لینکلن بلومفیلد مدیریت این کنفرانس را بر عهده داشت و سایر سخنرانان عبارت بودند از جانبرد وزیر خارجه پیشین کانادا، سفیر رابرت جوزف معاون پیشین وزارت خارجه آمریکا، ارتشبد جیمز کانوی، سناتور رابرت توریسلی و پروفسور ایوان ساشاشیهان مدیر اجرایی دانشکده روابط عمومی و بین المللی در دانشگاه بالتیمور.
سفیر لینکلن بلومفیلد در سخنان افتتاحیه خود اولین موضوع بحث و تبادل نظر را تحت عنوان حلقه مفقوده در زمینه سیاست ایران در غرب مطرح کرد و از جانبرد وزیر خارجه پیشین کانادا خواست با توجه به اختلافات جدی بین رژیم و دولت کانادا به این موضوع بپردازد که آیا در اتاوا خواسته مماشات با رژیم مطرح است و آیا در کانادا جنگی بر سر سیاست در قبال رژیم آخوندی وجود دارد؟ جانبرد در پاسخ چنین گفت:
One thing I am very pleased with when we broke off relations with the regime in Tehran in 2012, we received good support across the political spectrum. The new government has maintained the hardline approach with Iran, which I think is the right thing to do. And as someone who's involved in the liberal democracy in the West, when your opposition mimics your policy, that's the ultimate compliment. And that's when you know you've genuinely won a battle.
وزیر خارجه پیشین کانادا در ادامه توضیحات خود گفت که نباید به موضوع برنامه اتمی و حمایت رژیم از تروریسم اکتفا کرد، بلکه باید نقض حقوق بشر را نیز مد نظر قرار داد. سفیر بلومفیلد با اشاره به تجارب غنی سناتور توریسلی در دو زمینه سیاست سالهای اخیر آمریکا و همچنین کارکردهای رسانه‌ها در این کشور از او خواست به این موضوع بپردازد که چگونه میتوان اجماع بیشتری در واشنگتن نسبت به سیاست درست در قبال رژیم و جایگاه آلترناتیو دموکراتیک ایجاد کرد. سناتور توریسلی در پاسخ چنین گفت:
Because I was the first person here, I consider myself the first resident of Ashraf. And I want you to know, coming in here today, seeing what you have done is so extraordinary. To see what a free Iranian people can build with their own hands, their own community. I am so proud of each and every one of what you've done here. It is just incredible. Thank you for all of your labors. It's incredible what you built. Well done. There is a uniqueness to the American political system because we don't have a governing party. We don't have a parliament. So you can be in the Congress and have no responsibility. So by nature, the executive and the Congress are going to approach these issues very differently. You're allowed complete irresponsibility being in the Congress. I think in large measure that explains a lot of the differences in policy. And that's our mission, to explain, that's what Ashraf is. There is an alternative. There are free Iranians. There is an alternative political leadership. There are kids on the streets. There are professionals. There's the diaspora. There's the MEK. There is an alternative. So I think that's important for us, and fundamental is this issue that there is an alternative. You can take the risk. You can pull away from the mullahs. You can take a stand to topple them, because there are Iranians who will rise to the occasion.
In terms of the nuclear, let me just state the obvious. It's imperative, of course, that we stop.
در آغاز مبحث بعدی کنفرانس، لینکن بلومفیلد به پیشینه سفیر رابرت جوزف در رابطه با مسائل اتمی و منع تکثیر تسلیحاتی اشاره کرد و گفت: به جرأت میتوان گفت که او در بین کلیه حاضران در کنفرانس بیشترین تجربه را در این زمینه دارد. او همچنین روند توافق اتمی با رژیم را به دقت زیر نظر داشته است. از این رو مناسب ترین فرد برای پاسخ به این سوالات است که آیا رژیم با حسن نیت مذاکره کرد؟ آیا مسیرهای رسیدن به بمب واقعاً مسدود شدند؟ آیا وقتی ظریف و هیئت مذاکره کننده‌اش قول تبعیت از پروتکل الحاقی را دادند و متعهد شدند که هرگز به بمب دست نخواهند یافت، صادق بودند؟ و نهایتاً اینکه چه درسی از خلال مذاکرات اتمی با رژیم میتوان گرفت؟
Well, first of all, let me also thank the sponsors and the organizers for the invitation to return for my second visit to اشرف3. I was here in the fall, last fall, and the changes are phenomenal in that short period of time. But one thing that I'm sure hasn't changed, and that is the spirit of the residents of Camp Ashraf that impressed me so much with their dedication and their commitment to a free Iran. In terms of the nuclear, let me just state the obvious. It's imperative, of course, that we stop Iran from acquiring a nuclear weapon. The JCPOA failed to do that. It failed in a number of fundamental ways. By permitting enrichment and by permitting Iran to develop advanced centrifuges, it did not address the issue of breakout. It did not lengthen the time of breakout. Because of the fundamental flaws associated with the verification regime, the Iranian regime could at any point that it wanted to cheat and sneak out of the agreement by acquiring the fissile material that is necessary for a bomb. There were other flaws, of course. The agreement did not touch ballistic missiles in any way, and ballistic missiles are likely to be the primary carrier of a nuclear warhead. The agreement did not touch on Iran's activities associated with supporting terrorism not just in the region but around the world. And the agreement failed to deal with Iran's aggressive behavior in the region, whether we're talking about Syria, which is a true crime against humanity, or Afghanistan, or Yemen, or Iraq, and I could go on. Secretary Pompeo, as most of you know, announced a 12-point platform for dealing with Iran, one that would address the nuclear shortcomings as well as the other strategic flaws that were associated with the JCPOA. The Secretary did not use the words regime change when he put forth this 12-point plan or the 12-point address. But it was very clear, I think, to most of us who have been following the nuclear issues, that the regime that currently resides in Tehran is simply unable to make the changes that would be required to meet the 12 points, not just for the nuclear, but for the other behavior. I have long said that the only solution to the nuclear threat is regime change. And I think that remains true today. But to the larger question, and I think this is bigger than nuclear, this is truly about the fate and the future of the Iranian people. And as the senator says, this is about values. This is about freedom. This is about promoting democracy. This is about standing up for human rights. And as I read Mrs. Rajavi's 10-point plan, that reflects the values that I'm articulating. And I think that gives evidence to the fact that the MEK, the NCRI, does provide that viable alternative to the current regime that wraps itself up as a religious guardian of a great religion and yet practices fascism and brutality toward its own people. And the first and foremost victims of this regime, we all have to remember, are the people of Iran.
Thank you, Bob.
First of all, I've seen you people on TV. Now I'm seeing you in person, and it's a great thing. Your enthusiasm and your spirit is incredible.
سخنران بعدی کنفرانس ژنرال جیمز کانوی بود که سخنانش را با مخاطب قرار دادن اشرفی‌ها آغاز کرد و ضمن ابراز خوشبختی از دیدار مجاهدان اشرفی، انگیزه‌ها و روحیه آنها را خارق العاده توصیف کرد. او سپس گفت:
You know, I tend to agree with the ambassador. I think Iran under this regime is irretrievable. The list is extensive. You hit some. There are others that I would add, and so I don't know that I would encourage any military man or woman to think that they can come up with a golden BB and it's going to be the solution for peace with Iran. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think that they all need to understand the direction our country is headed today, finally. Our president, who was very reluctant to lay down red lines, laid down a red line and said that Iran will not be allowed to have a nuclear weapon. The sanctions seem to be working very effectively. I'm happy to say.
ژنرال کانوی سپس با تاکید بر اینکه بایستی از مداخله نظامی زمینی برای تغییر رژیم پرهیز کرد گفت:
The best option is change from within. And I was happy to hear our president immediately, with the uprisings, 18 months or so ago now, immediately come online and say, I support those people. If another president had done that in 2009, I don't think we would be here today.
Professor Xian, you are an evidence-based scholar.
پس از سخنان ژنرال کانوی، سفیر بلومفیلد موضوع اقدامات تروریستی رژیم را مطرح کرد و در این رابطه از پروفسور شیهان به عنوان استاد ضد تروریسم که سالها رفتار رژیم را به دقت مورد مطالعه قرار داده است خواست پیرامون عملکرد تروریستی رژیم و حلقه مفقوده درک این رفتارها در برخی محافل غربی توضیح دهد.
Iran today, the contemporary regime in Iran, is the central purveyor of terrorism in the modern world. They attempted to strike the rally in Paris last year, and they engage in terrorist violence and support terrorist violence around the world. So I would start with that as a kind of a central message. But let me first thank you all for inviting me here today. What a pleasure it is to be here in Tirana and to see and join all of you. I spoke out on your behalf for many years, beginning in around 2006, when the MEK and the NCRI were still on the foreign terrorist organization list. I likened the residents in this room to some of the great peace movements and social justice movements in the world. And so it's a great honor to receive such a joyous welcome from you all today and to see and meet you all, and I look forward to doing so. One of the reasons that I'm here.
پروفسور شیهان سپس به کتاب جدید سفیر بلومفیلد به نام آیت الله ها و مجاهدین خلق، عملیات نفوذ ایران در حال شکست اشاره کرد. او گفت که سفیر بلومفیلد به خاطر ده‌ها سال حضور در دوائر ارشد سیاستگذاری در واشنگتن شهرت بسزایی دارد. او در این کتاب اسنادی ارائه می‌کند که نشان می‌دهد منشأ بسیاری از شایعات و تحریفاتی که علیه مجاهدین در واشنگتن مطرح شده بود رژیم آخوندی بوده که تلاش می‌کرده مانع شناسایی سازمان مجاهدین و شورای ملی مقاومت ایران به عنوان یک آلترناتیو قدرتمند شود. پروفسور شیحان تاکید کرد که یافته‌های خود او هم مؤید همین نتیجه گیری سفیر بلومفیلد است و نشان می‌دهد که رژیم ده‌ها سال از طریق تولید به اصطلاح استادان افتخاری، خرید تحقیقات و تأمین مالی مراکز تحقیقاتی به دنبال ضربه زدن به مجاهدین به مثابه دشمن اصلی خود بوده است.
Scholars have long known that the regime fears internal pressure more than it fears external threats. And so it is no surprising to any of us that they see you all as enemy number one. But I think Ambassador Bloomfield has done a great service by peeling back that misinformation, by exposing it, because I think that is the first step towards a viable alternative that includes regime change. But not just any regime change from within, regime change through support of the Iranian opposition.
That are being violated.
در ادامه کنفرانس بین المللی سیاست در قبال ایران، یک آلترناتیو معتبر در اشرف 3، سفیر بلومفیلد گفت: سوالی که من اکنون اعضای پنل را به پرداختن به آن فرا می‌خوانم این است که با توجه به نکات پروفسور شیحان در مورد تغییر از درون جامعه و اینکه وحشت رژیم از نارضایتی‌های داخلی بسیار بیشتر از تهدیدات خارجی است، اینکه چه عنصری را می‌توان در سیاست در قبال رژیم مطرح کرد. نقطه آسیب پذیر این رژیم که می‌تواند به شکلی مؤثرتر مورد استفاده قرار گیرد چیست و چگونه می‌توان سیاست را به سمت نقطه آسیب پذیر رژیم جهت داد. جامبرت در پاسخ تاکید کرد:
The Iranian people are smart, they're thoughtful, they're well educated. They do not support this regime. And we must call the regime out at every single turn. When the regime is sponsoring terrorism, they're funneling money away from the Iranian people, from healthcare and education and services to people to fund the war against the Syrian people, to interfere in virtually every one of its neighbors. We've got to get out there that the people of Iran at some point, and what happens, it will happen very quickly in my opinion, the people of Iran are our best ally, our strongest supporter in terms of values, in terms of interests, and we mustn't allow the public relations machine of this regime to go forward.
So, Senator, you have followed this issue.
سفیر بلومفیلد سپس از سناتور توریسلی پرسید: شما مدت طولانی است که پیگیر این موضوع هستید. همه گزینه‌های سیاسی را دیده اید. فکر می‌کنید که پاشنه آشیل کجاست؟ آن چه نقطه‌ای است که آخوندها بیش از همه از آن ترس دارند و این می‌توانست از طرف سیاستگزاری غرب مورد توجه قرار گیرد؟
You all are experts on this. The Iranian regime is not going to reform. It is not going to change. It is not going to get better. All the signs are it's worse. And waiting and having patience is of absolutely no value. The second handicap we have in this is that those who would accommodate the regime have taken a moral high ground because they claim to be against war and against violence. So all of us who want to confront the regime are bad people because we would have violence and war and killing. That's a debate you almost lose immediately before you start. Here's the problem with it. First of all, there is a war. Just no one's fighting back. Tens of thousands of Iranians have died. They weren't traffic accidents. They were murdered by their own government. Just because there aren't missiles flying and declarations of war by parliaments doesn't mean there's not a war. There's been a war on the Iranian people since 1979.
Just a small historical footnote. In 1987, as a younger Pentagon official, I was at a lunch with the Kuwaiti defense minister after Khomeini mined the Persian Gulf. And it was there that we hatched the idea, I wasn't the lead official, to put American flags on Kuwaiti oil tankers. When that was challenged by the Revolutionary Guard Corps, we sunk a lot of vessels very quickly, and there were no problems from these people for a long, long time.